I'm Chey, and once again, I've been let off the leash. If you're new here, hi, I don't do a lot of book hauls. Don't look at my library haul. Now, I love books. I love getting books. I do have very many on my TBR that are just waiting for me to read them. However, my funds, my extemporaneous monetary value, often goes to band merch and concerts. I cannot fathom paying the full price for a book that you don't even know that you're gonna like. Like going to Barnes & Noble and being like, I'm gonna get 5 books, like, every single week, and being like, you don't even know that you're gonna like them. Now, that does mean I don't judge you if you do it. It's your money, it's your business. I don't care. Me, like I said, most of my funds are just going to band merch and concerts. Thus why I'm a little bit more personally discerning, because I'm like already squeezed so tight that I'm like, no, I need to make sure that I'm gonna like it. Also, that doesn't mean that I never do that. It just means that it's not my weekly thing that I do. And when I do haul things, some are new. I do like to get things brand new sometimes. Now that I'm an adult with my own job and my own funds, it's relaxed a little bit and I can divert a little bit more towards that, but it's just not my chosen fund of extemporaneous monetary. And that's okay, we all got them. Instead, where I often get a lot of my books, I'm looking at the pile right now. If you don't know what the pile is, video linked up above. I often get stuff from the library, from estate sales, from local thrift stores, from overstock stores, stuff like that. And it's been a little bit since my last haul video. I did an Ollie's haul not too long ago for a trip that I did, but for an actual legitimate like video haul, it's been a little while. So let's talk about the books that I have gotten since then. And just to give you a quick stat, it's 17. I have hauled 17 books. And 2 of them I've already read. Well, that's a lie. 1 of them I've already read. And then the other, I read pretty quickly after I got it. The other 15 are all on my TBR. So let's start. Disclaimer, I don't know a ton about these, and I kind of like going into books blind. As I just explained to a vlog that I'm doing, whenever I go to buy a book, whether it be at a thrift store, whether it be full price, blah blah blah, I will look at the back, I will read it, I will make a decision about whether I like this or not, whether it's worth my 4 or 30 bucks. I will also go to Goodreads and look at reviews and see if my friends have left any. I will text my friends and ask what they've heard about it, have they read it, stuff like that. I will make an informed decision in the moment. However, I also have severe ADHD. So, when I get home, that means all the information that was here is no longer there half the time. So I may remember, oh yeah, that story's about a dude that sleepwalks. That's all I'm gonna remember. That's it. But I trust myself. It's sort of like blind date with a book. Because I chose it in the moment, and I know I'm gonna forget. It's a blind box edition, but knowing half the prize? All that to say, I can't tell you a ton about them, but I'll tell you what I can and why I got them. This is hopefully going to be a really kind of short video, but first we're going to start with some books that I got from an estate sale. I love estate sales. I am so nosy. But I'm also a history major and a Gemini, so I'm quite literally a double threat nosy. For real though, I love going to estate sales because I love getting items to repurpose them and give them another home, another secondary life, and really kind of honor the existence that they had before, and just reduce, reuse, and recycle. And one thing I love looking at estate sales is people's bookshelves. It's the triple threat nosy. At one singular estate sale, I ended up getting 5 books, and they had quite the collection. This was the last day of the estate sale, and I had originally looked at the pictures, and I was like, ooh, there's a couple that I really like, and there's a couple that I'm really interested in, like they were modern titles, and I also like looking for classics. But the day we got there was the last day of the sale, and so most of that was gone, but I did get some bangers. Firstly, we have 1,000 Mornings by Mary Oliver. This is the one that I mentioned that I've already read, and I loved it. This is a short collection of poems by Mary Oliver. I've never read anything by Mary Oliver. This is kind of a review, but oh well. I've never read anything by Mary Oliver. I've always been really interested in it, and I thought this was a really good primer. A really good introduction. If you just want a short collection of poems, maybe you want to get into poetry, or maybe you also want to get into Mary Oliver, I'd recommend this. It was beautiful, it was short, it was sweet, and good to read on my mornings with my coffee. Yeah, this is kind of more of a review than a haul, but this is also a haul. There were also a few pages that were like dog-eared. Some of these are mine, but some of the other pages were dog-eared, and I was like, it was just a beautiful thing to be like, the person that had this before, like, these are the poems that meant the most to them, that stuck out to them. So I dog-eared my pages in a different direction. That way it's like a chronicle, and I thought that was beautiful. The next book is The Art Thief, a true story of love, crime, and a dangerous obsession. I think this is a nonfiction? I think, but it's told like narrative, like it's narrative nonfiction, I think. He pulled off more than 200 heists, often in crowded museums in broad daylight. His girlfriend served as accomplice. His collection was worth an estimated $2 billion. He never sold a piece, displaying his stolen art in his attic bedroom. He felt like a king until everything came to a shocking end. Drama, nosy, history, art. What more do I need to tell you? I'm very interested in this. I've heard good things about it, and that's all I really need to know. Also, it's a lot shorter than I thought it would be, which is what a lot of people say about me. I'll still take out your kneecaps. Next, we have Homeland and Other Stories by Barbara Kingsolver, who wrote one of my favorite books of all time, Demon Copperhead. It says limited edition if it's important your heart remembers. I love this author's writing. I love their character work. I love the way that they represent where I was born and raised and where I've lived, loved, laughed, cried, grown up. And so, of course, I want to read more of their work. I want to get more familiar with their stories, especially in short form. I'm trying to read more short stories. I'm not really a short story kind of person, but I'm trying to read more. More specifically, I kind of want to start a habit where every morning, like with my coffee and stuff, because I want to do a thing where I read for at least 30 minutes in the morning after I read my 10 pages. And I think part of that, I would like to either read a short story or like a poem and just have something that's short, but that I can sit with just while I have my coffee and stuff. And so, yeah. Yeah, perfect. It's also Tennessee Vols orange. I don't care about sports, but it felt kind of on the nose. And following up with that, Ursula K. Le Guin's Dancing at the Edge of the World, Thoughts on Words, Women, and Places. This is a book of essays from this author who I've not read any of their work, but all three of those things are things that I'm very interested in, and especially in how they correlate to one another. Just another book that I thought would be fantastic to go along with the morning reading, morning thoughts, and especially coffee. I'm trying to get more into essays as well, more critical analysis pieces that I don't have to worry about getting a grade on because I'm writing an essay or a 12-page paper on. And the last book we have is Earth's Wild Music, Celebrating and Defending the Songs of the Natural World by Kathleen Dean Moore. You know me, big nature girly, especially big nature horror, but also nature lover. Also, cover, stunning, gorgeous, we love her. But music, audio engineer, and nature, duh. It was a match made in heaven. I believe this is also kind of a book of short little essays put together in chapters. Yeah, gathering of new and selected essays spans their distinguished career as a tireless advocate for environmental activism in the face of climate change. So talking about all the sounds of nature and why they're important and the things that make them are important, and while we're all a big part of this big cycle and why they're worthy of protecting and loving and treasuring and cherishing. It's also a little shorty patorty, kind of. Yeah, it's just a little over 200 pages, 246. So that is all I got from the estate sale, but clearly some meaningful and really good pieces that I'm really happy with, and pieces that I hope will teach me something. The next few that I got are another haul from Ollie's, because that place is a trap for me. Starting off with the only other book in this pile that I have already read, no one is going to be shocked if you know a thing about me, and that is The Three Musketeers. Look at this edition. Look at this edition. $5. You expected me? You expected me, Three Musketeers McGee? You expected Three Musketeers McGee over here to just leave this? No, you're out of your mind. You're crazy. The Three Musketeers is my favorite book of all time. You see that guy right there? That's Three Musketeers. Athos, my beloved. The next book is Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland. I have so much hair in my face. Not enough words in the brain. Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland. That is staying in the tank. I'm not gonna lie, I've just heard a lot about this, and I can't remember whether it was good or bad. My brain is telling me that it was good, and Goodreads says that the reviews are middling, and that typically means good things for me. But the number one thing that drove me to pick this up at first was name recognition and the fact that it has stunning edges. I don't own many books with edges like these, because I typically find them to be way too expensive, which, as we've discussed, I don't like spending a lot of money on brand new books, especially ones that I don't know that I'm going to like. So, would I feel comfortable spending $32.99 for this? Absolutely not. I think I got it for, yeah, here you go. I got it for $5. That is a much safer investment for if I end up not liking it, you know? But look at this. Let the best liar win. I'm interested in it. Like, it's supposedly, I guess, like a YA more version of the Blade itself. I don't know why I'm comparing things to that. There are more, like, groups brought together competing for... Oh! I hadn't even looked inside. Or rather, I forgot what the inside of it looked like. It's the season for treason. Fantastic start! Yeah, so I'm just... Calm down. listen, best case scenario, I love this. Worst case scenario, I give it to my library to resell to make a profit for the student book club, and they get a good few bucks out of it. So it's a win-win, honestly. But I love fantasy, I love grimdark, I love stories of, like, folks coming together, and it doesn't even have to be found family. I just love stories of groups coming together and having to work together and all those dynamics and stuff like that. Now, this one doesn't quite make too much sense, but I got the duology. I guess it's more of a collection. Last Violent Call by Chloe Gong. So it has A Foul Thing and This Foul Murder. So these are 2 novellas surrounding the events of Foul Lady Fortune. Have I read that? Have I read anything by Chloe Gong? No, but I do own these Violent Delights. And I was like, you know what? I am willing to absolutely take a chance for $3, mind you, $3, and go ahead and get this. That way it'll incentivize me to read that and see what I think and then move on. Because again, I tell you, worst case scenario, I give it to my library, they make a few bucks for the community. And I paid $3 instead of $20. Or whatever they're charging on Amazon or Pango or whatever. I am very, very intrigued by the premises. The premise of those books. And so I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm like, hey, if I do end up loving it, I don't have to seek this out. I don't have to try and hunt it down. I don't have to worry about it. It's just already here. And the last book that I got from this latest Ollie's haul was Burnham Wood by Eleanor Catton. So this, you probably saw, if you saw my Ollie short, you probably saw me pick this up, but I did not end up getting it. Well, it's been on my mind ever since. I think about this book a lot, and I was like, you know what? I need to go see if they still have it because I want it, and that's what sparked me getting the rest of those. Because I went in there for this. This sounds so freaking good. So, Burnham Wood is on the move. A landslide has closed off Corowai Pass on New Zealand's South Island, leaving a sizable farm cut off, abandoned. Presents an opportunity for Burnham Wood, a guerrilla gardening collective that plants crops wherever no one will notice. If they can occupy the farm, they might finally break good and amass enough resources to set themselves up for the long term. But an American billionaire has snatched up the farm to build his end times bunker, or so he tells Burnham's founder, Mira, when he catches her on the property. Robert is intrigued by Mira, and by Burnham Wood. Although they're poles apart politically, it seems that she and the group might have enemies in common. Can Burnham trust him? And as their ideals and ideologies are tested, can they trust one another? I'm interested in it. And just, it's stunning, it's gorgeous. Now the ones that we are down to come from Indie Bookstore Day. This was one of the exceptions, where I was like, you know what? I am gonna go out and buy books at full price because I am supporting my indie bookstores, and also on the Indie Bookstore Day. And I will also say, part of what I've relaxed as an adult, I'm more comfortable paying for books full price at an indie bookstore. It's really at places like Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and stuff like Walmart and conglomerates and stuff like that. I will buy less, but I will tend to actually buy something instead of walk out empty-handed. Oh, I lied. I have one more Ollie's book. This one's very important. Don't forget it. Dracula, Mickey Mouse edition. And it comes with stickers. A lot of my friends have kids and stuff like that, so it's mine. I'm keeping it for me. I was going to try and give an excuse that I got it from that. I got it for me. Alright, now we're to Indie Bookstore Day. So I really wanted to go to the indie bookstores in Nashville, but it just, with the timing and just other stuff, it just didn't happen. So I had to go to the 2 that are closer to home for me. But at least I was able to go out and support and get some books. At the first store, I ended up only getting 3 books. However, they all seem to kind of match thematically. The first book that I picked out is Sir Gawain, I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly, and the Green Knight. This is a classic tale that I've had many people tell me, because again, nature gal and nature horror gal, that I really need to read. I'm also trying to do a study on like women and horror and nature and how that all correlates, and I've just really been told that I really need to read this. I've been told by some classics majors that I would really enjoy this. As far as I know, it's just really heavily nature themed and has to do with King Arthur or something. That's all I know. And I know that the movie is apparently really good too. That, yes, I know it doesn't follow I know it's different, but like apparently there is a movie based off this same legend, and it's good. And for our second classic, we have Beowulf, which this is the most horrifying cover of almost anything I've ever seen. And you might think, what kind of bootleg of Beowulf is that? It's Penguin. This is an official Penguin Classic Edition, and it's horrifying. Also, another thing that I have not read that I am vastly trailing behind and not having read. Because, I mean, look, there's no excuse. And also, again, I love women in horror, and I love women and horror, and I just love classics, so why not? It's high pastime. It really is. This cover shows a helmet from the Sutton Hoo treasure in the British Museum. If it's in the British Museum, is it really a treasure? Or do we have a different legal term for that? And the last book that I got from the first store is The Princess Bride. I literally grabbed this just as I was about to walk out. I wanted a third book, and this was just standing right in front of me. I was like, you know what? Why not? A favorite childhood movie that, why have I not read this yet? I know that I'm gonna love it. I hold it near and dear close to my heart. So, yeah, it's more than pastime. If I have to explain this to you, are you okay? Where have you been? You've been off the internet a long time? What's it like? So that first store is clearly a used bookstore. They have some newer titles, but it's mainly used and volunteer-led. However, the second store that I stopped at is all new books, at least as far as I know. I think they have like a very small used section for like $1, but the 99.9% of it is new books. So I was willing to take the fall for this because it's indie bookstore day. But I'm very happy with the haul that I got. I ended up getting 4 items. Don't try and pause that. You're going to see them. Don't skip ahead. And the very first one that I knew I was going in to get is one that I every single time I was going to go in there, but I could not justify paying $16 for such a tiny brand new paperback because it's indie bookstore day. I felt better paying full sticker price. If I'm going to take the plunge, I'm going to do it on the day when, like, it is the day to do it, you know? And also, this is by a 5-star author for me. It's something that I've been told by many people, as you've probably sensed the theme, that I'm going to love. So I feel even more confident in investing in it. And at that favorite author line, if you know me, you know it's one of 2 people. Well, I'll solve the mystery. It's Stephen Graham Jones. Mapping the Interior, Stephen Graham Jones. I have no excuse to not read this in the same month that I get it in. This is basic Chey lore, but in case there's anyone new here, I'd just like to go over it quickly. You see a bunch of those? A bunch of those are Stephen Graham Jones. He is the author of the only bookish tattoo that I currently have. I love this man and his writing. And I've had a lot of people reliably tell me that they are so interested in my thoughts on this. I'm scared. I'm scared. Me and Stephen Graham Jones tend to have a lot of really specific things in common with, like, the cultural zeitgeist we grew up with. So I wonder how he's going to traumatize me this time. It's okay. I love you, Stephen Graham Jones. And since we're talking about favorite authors, my other favorite author has a brand new book out, and it's like it was written specifically for me. When he announced it, I was like, have you been spying on me? Is this one actually for me? He is also on the shrine up there. You see all those? It's my boy. He is the author of my favorite series of all time, the series that got me into grimdark, and the series that got me into modern high fantasy, if you want to call it high fantasy, modern grimdark, whatever. Mark Lawrence, Daughter of Crows. I just need you to look at this for a minute. I just need you to look. I need you to love it as much as I do. I was more than willing to pay full price for this brand new hardback because, as J.G. Wentworth once said, it's my money, and I need it now. I'm so excited to get into this. I don't even really need to know what it's about. I do know, because otherwise I wouldn't have been so hyped about it. But, again, do I remember? Not really. The survivor of a brutal academy must exhume her own past in the first book of a new series. Set a thief to catch a thief. Set a monster to punish monsters. The Academy of Kindness... He's gonna destroy me with this one too, isn't he? Exists to create agents of retribution, cast in the image of the Furies, known as the Kindly Ones, against whom even the gods hesitate to stand. Each year, 100 girls are sold to the Academy. 10 years later, only 3 emerge. The Academy's halls run with blood. The few who survive its decade-long nightmare have been forged on the sands of the Wound Garden. They have learned ancient secrets amid the necrotic fumes of the Bone Garden. They'll leave the Academy's gates as avatars of vengeance, bound to uphold the oldest of laws. Only the most desperate would sell their child to the Academy, but Rue, she sold herself. And now, a lifetime later, a long and bloody lifetime later, just as she has discovered peace, war has been brought to an old woman's doorstep. That was a mistake. Alright, what's the first line? Are you going to absolutely destroy me? Because every single time I've opened a Mark Lawrence book, the first line has just gutted me. So let's see. What are we doing? If it's a Jorg reference, I'm going to lose my mind. All of the people I hate are dead. Some of them I didn't even kill. I love this man's writing so much. If him and Stephen Graham Jones ever collab on a book, I'm done. I'm done. You can stick a fork in me because I'm totally cooked. When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. I've never read anything by this author, but I've always had a really good feeling about this book, and not just because my friends have given it rave glowing reviews. I don't know, you just look at a book and you're just like, That's how I felt about this book, and I got it as a loan from my library. Did I read it? And I took this as a chance. When I went to the store, I texted my good friend M, who is my arbiter of all things my taste. It's an exaggeration, but I do tend to ask them their opinions on books. Now, do we always agree? No, but I value their opinion enough to have it anyway. And I said, M, have you read Nat Cassidy? M said, yes, I have. I said, M, have you read When the Wolf Comes Home? M said, yes, I have. I said, M, do you think I would like When the Wolf Comes Home? And M said, yes, I do. So, there was particularly one scene that M mentioned that didn't tell me about, but they were like, I'm really interested in seeing what you think of it. So, yes, I am also interested in seeing what I really think of it. But I just have such a good feeling about it. One night, Jess, a struggling actress, finds a 5-year-old runaway hiding in the bushes outside her apartment. After a violent, bloody encounter with the boy's father, she and the boy find themselves running for their lives. Yeah, that's all I need to know, really. That's all I needed to know. Also, this is like the soft, buttery cover, and my nails, like, kind of really match it, and I love it. And for the last book, my nails also match it. It is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I do really like Joe Abercrombie. I read The Blade itself, really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to picking up more of his work, and I just love stories like this. Like I said, I love groups of dudes, and dudes is gender neutral. It's gender inclusive. I just love groups of dudes getting together and having to live, thrive, and survive. I knew I was probably really going to love this because of the basis of the story. However, when people that I trust have read it and were like, Chey, it is like Monty Python, but like make it grimdark. I was like absolutely sold because big Monty Python fan. So yes, I'm totally sold. And also this does have the really pretty end pages as well. I will typically only buy special editions of a book that I haven't already read if it is by a 5-star author, like an auto-buy author, and I just trust them, like Stephen Graham Jones and Mark Lawrence. Or it's a good price, like that $5 5 Broken Blades one. Or it is around or near the same price as a brand new regular one. However, this one is beautiful. It's any bookstore day, and so I got it, and I'm very excited to finally own it, because I think I had it on my hold for Libby for a really long time, and I had such a good feeling that I was really gonna like it, that I was like, I think I'm gonna take the bullet and just get it. So I'm happy that I did, because now I can actually start on it after I read, like, 10 of those. So all in all, that is 17 books, and now I need to go read. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stick around and end up seeing what I think of all these books. I would love to have you here. But while you're waiting, I have a ton of other vlogs, challenges, and bits all up on this channel. You'll get recommended some at the end, so be sure to check them out if you feel like sticking around. But for right now, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you ain't heard it from anyone else today, I love you. Love and peace.